Becoming a millionaire isn't about luck, inheritance, or some magical overnight windfall. It's about mastering principles that most people ignore, avoid, or simply never commit to. The world loves to glorify the result, but behind every financially free individual lies a blueprint made up of choices, sacrifices, and deeply rooted habits. These aren't vague philosophies. They are battle-tested rules that have built fortunes from the ground up. These are the truths that the wealthy live by, the codes they don't break, and the mindset that separates them from those who keep spinning in circles. If you want the results, you must adopt the rules. Let me take you through 10 unbreakable rules that shaped a millionaire. The first rule is simple but brutal. Take full responsibility for your life. No blaming, no complaining, no waiting for someone to come save you. Millionaires are built on the foundation of ownership. They don't point fingers at the economy, their parents, their boss, or bad luck. They look in the mirror and say, "It's on me." If their finances are a mess, they own it. If their business fails, they learn from it. Excuses are expensive. Blame is a luxury the successful cannot afford. The moment you decide that everything in your life is a result of your actions is the moment you begin to take control of your future. Rule number 2, master your time. Time is the currency of the rich. While others waste hours chasing distractions, millionaires are obsessed with maximizing every moment. They don't let notifications run their day. They plan. They prioritize. They eliminate noise. The calendar isn't just a tool, it's their weapon. When others scroll, they study. When others party, they build. Time, once gone, never returns. They treat every minute like it matters, because it does. Compound results don't come from intense bursts of activity. They come from consistently doing the right things over time. Every wasted hour is a deposit into someone else's dream. Rule 3, build skills, not just savings. Money doesn't come from sitting on what you have. It flows to those who increase what they know. Millionaires are students of the game. They read, they listen, they attend, they apply. While others look for shortcuts, they dig into mastery. They know that in a fast-changing world, your earning potential is directly linked to your ability to solve problems. Whether it's marketing, leadership, investing, or communication, skills are the engine of wealth. Education never ends. The moment you think you know enough is the moment you start falling behind. Rule number 4, live below your means, so you can invest above your level. Wealth isn't about what you show, it's about what you grow. Millionaires understand that flashy lifestyles without assets are just illusions of success. While others buy status, they buy freedom. They don't compete for likes, they compete for legacy. They delay gratification. They choose assets over applause. When income increases, they don't raise expenses, they raise investments. Real wealth is silent. It's built in compound interest, in equity, in ownership. Every dollar they save is a soldier sent out to bring more back. They play the long game while the world chases instant rewards. Rule 5, solve bigger problems. If you want to earn more, serve more. That's the law. Money is a reward for impact. The millionaire mindset doesn't ask, "How can I make more money?" It asks, "How can I provide more value?" They look for pain points in the world and create solutions. They don't wait to be asked, they innovate. Whether it's through a product, a service, or a movement, they position themselves as answers to people's struggles. The greater the problem you solve, the greater the paycheck that follows. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter and deeper. Rule 6, build multiple streams of income. One source is dangerous. Millionaires don't rely on a single paycheck because they know that security is an illusion. They create systems that earn even when they sleep. Passive income isn't a dream, it's a strategy. They diversify. Real estate, stocks, digital products, businesses, they understand that the more ways money can flow to them, the less dependent they are on any single source. While others are loyal to one job, they are loyal to freedom. And that freedom is fueled by income that doesn't clock out when they do. Rule 7, surround yourself with people who think bigger. Environment is everything. You cannot grow in a garden full of weeds. Millionaires choose their circle intentionally. They know that who they talk to, who they listen to, and who they spend time with shapes their beliefs and behavior. They don't just hang out, they level up. They seek out mentors, masterminds, and networks that challenge them to stretch beyond their limits. Small minds talk about people, rich minds talk about opportunities. You become who you spend the most time with. If your circle doesn't inspire you, it's not a circle, it's a cage. Rule 8. Take calculated risks. Playing it safe is the riskiest move of all. Millionaires don't gamble blindly, but they don't hide behind fear either. They gather data, assess outcomes, and then they leap. Comfort zones are prisons. Growth lives on the edge of uncertainty. They understand that failure is not final, it's feedback. Every mistake is a lesson. Every setback is fuel. They don't fear loss, they fear regret. And while others wait for perfect conditions, they act. Because progress always favors the bold. Playing not to lose is a guaranteed way to stay broke. Rule 9. Turn adversity into advantage. Life doesn't spare anyone. But millionaires refuse to be victims of their circumstances. They use pain as power. They let rejection sharpen their focus. They let criticism polish their character. They don't collapse under pressure, they rise. Their story isn't one of ease, it's one of endurance. They know that storms don't destroy purpose, they reveal it. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow stronger, smarter, and more determined. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what now? Because they understand that resilience is the rarest and most valuable form of currency. Rule 10. Never stop growing. Wealth without growth is empty. Millionaires chase progress, not just profit. They constantly evolve. They reflect. They improve. They reinvent. They know that becoming rich isn't just about having money. It's about becoming a person worthy of abundance. They never settle. They are always asking, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? They build habits. They cultivate discipline. They invest in their health, relationships, mindset, and purpose. Because success is never just about what you have, it's about who you become. The path to becoming a millionaire isn't paved in gold. It's built with bricks of discipline, intention, and resilience. Every rule is not a suggestion but a code that, when followed with consistency, transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary achievers. The world may applaud the destination, but the real glory lies in the construction of the journey. Millionaires aren't born with secrets. They're forged by standards most people refuse to hold. The rules don't just shape wealth, they shape character. And it's that inner shift that sustains the external results. Rule 1. Taking responsibility teaches you to stop outsourcing your power. It rewires your thinking from victimhood to ownership. You begin to see that nothing changes until you change. The world doesn't owe you anything, but it will reward you for what you earn. Once you adopt that lens, you stop waiting and start creating. You stop making excuses and start building habits. The day you stop blaming is the day you start gaining control of your future. With Rule 2, mastering your time, you begin to see that success isn't built in marathons, but in the small, unseen moments where others choose comfort. You don't have to hustle every second, but you do have to protect your most precious resource. Millionaires don't run faster, they move smarter. They cut the fat from their days and keep only what adds value. They know the difference between being busy and being effective. Every hour is a seed, plant it wisely, and the harvest will come. Rule 3 flips the script from scarcity to ability. When you build skills, you build leverage. The world doesn't pay you for time, it pays you for value. Millionaires invest in sharpening their edge. Whether it's learning how to negotiate, lead, sell, or build systems, they treat learning as a lifelong mission. Their mind is their most powerful asset. The more you grow your skill set, the more doors open without you needing to knock. You become magnetic, not because of luck, but because of how much you've prepared. Living below your means, Rule 4, is not deprivation, it's preparation. It's building financial muscle instead of flexing for attention. While others race to impress, millionaires position themselves to invest. They say no to momentary pleasure to say yes to long-term power. They don't see money as something to spend. They see it as something to multiply. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and what you do with it. Every financial choice is either a ladder or a leash. They choose ladders. Rule 5 is the game changer. Solve bigger problems. The size of your paycheck is directly tied to the size of the problem you solve. If you want to increase your income, increase your impact. Look for gaps. Find inefficiencies. Alleviate pain. Serve at scale. Millionaires don't chase money. They chase usefulness. They don't wait to be hired. They create solutions, and demand follows. The market rewards those who bring clarity, ease, and transformation. When you make people's lives better, they gladly pay for it. Diversifying income, the sixth rule, is about protecting the freedom you've worked for. Millionaires don't rely on a single stream because they understand that economic winters come without warning. They build layers: active income, passive income, scalable income. They own their time, not because they work harder, but because they built systems that don't sleep. They invest in vehicles that make money move even when they're not around. That's not fantasy, it's strategy. One source of income is a risk. Multiple streams are security. Rule 7 reminds you that proximity is power. Your environment shapes your expectations. Millionaires aren't surrounded by people who make them feel comfortable. They're around those who challenge their standards. Their conversations are different. They speak about goals, strategies, investments, and visions. They don't gossip, they grow. Being around people who normalize excellence forces you to level up. It's impossible to soar when you're tied to people who crawl. They don't just network, they align. They protect their energy because they understand it fuels everything else. Taking calculated risks, Rule 8, isn't about recklessness. It's about courage rooted in preparation. Millionaires study patterns, trends, and models, but they don't get stuck in analysis. They move. They understand that not every risk pays off, but every move teaches them something. Playing it safe keeps you in the crowd. Playing it smart but bold puts you in rare territory. They use risk as a tool, not a threat. They place bets on themselves, because no return is higher than belief executed with precision. Rule 9 reveals the hidden ingredient behind every success story: resilience. Life will test you. Doors will close. People will doubt you. But millionaires turn pain into power. They let struggle refine them, not define them. When things fall apart, they don't break, they adapt. They see setbacks as redirection. Every low moment becomes a lesson. They understand that emotional strength is just as important as financial intelligence. You can't grow if you crumble every time the wind blows. Resilience is the armor that protects your ambition. The final rule, number 10, is the glue that holds it all together: never stop growing. Millionaires don't rest on yesterday's wins. They keep evolving because they understand that the world changes and they must change with it. They reflect, they refine, they stretch. Success is never a destination, it's a responsibility. Growth is a mindset, a hunger, a rhythm. Even when they reach goals, they set new ones, not out of greed, but because growth is their identity. They don't chase perfection, they chase progression. These rules are not optional. They are not seasonal. They are the DNA of wealth. The millionaire isn't a lucky outlier. It's someone who made intentional choices repeatedly, even when it wasn't convenient. Each rule, when followed with integrity and fire, unlocks a new level. Combined, they create an unstoppable force. Most people are waiting for permission to begin. Millionaires gave themselves permission and never looked back. They understood that success isn't something you wish for, it's something you build. One choice at a time, one rule at a time, one day at a time. The difference between the average and the exceptional is not an opportunity. It's in the mindset, the hunger, and the discipline to live by the rules when no one is watching. Millionaires are not born into greatness. They rise to it by refusing to settle, refusing to make excuses, and refusing to live like everyone else. They look at the same world and make different choices. They don't ask, "Is this possible?" They ask, "What must I become to make it inevitable?" And that shift, from questioning to deciding, is the turning point. When you truly take responsibility for your life, you stop outsourcing your destiny. That was rule 1, and it's not just about mindset. It's the ground everything else stands on. You realize that nobody is coming to push you. No one will rescue you. That every step forward is a declaration that you are in charge of your future. It's not always glamorous, but it's always powerful. The moment you accept that every outcome begins with you, the world starts opening doors it once kept locked. Time, the most perishable resource, separates the dreamers from the doers. Rule 2, about mastering your time, becomes more than scheduling. It becomes sacred. Every hour you control becomes an investment in a better life. You start asking different questions. Is this worth my time? Does this get me closer to my vision? The millionaire doesn't let urgency replace importance. They say no, often, not because they're arrogant, but because they know focus is rare and distractions are everywhere. Time is the invisible currency that quietly compounds into fortune. Building skills, Rule 3, becomes your infinite bank. When you commit to being a student for life, you never go broke, because knowledge multiplies your ability to earn, lead, and adapt. The world changes fast, but the learner always wins. Millionaires don't just dabble, they dive deep. They immerse themselves in mastery, knowing that depth beats dabbling every time. The best investment is in your evolution, because skills don't just build income, they build identity. Rule 4 taught us the power of restraint. Living below your means not out of fear, but out of strategy. Millionaires don't get caught in the trap of proving wealth, they build it. They drive used cars while owning high-performing assets. They skip status symbols because they've learned that true status is freedom. Not owing anyone, not needing permission, not working for money, but making money work for them. They trade fleeting thrills for lasting legacy. Solving bigger problems, Rule 5, reminds us that value is the seed of all wealth. The more you serve, the more you earn. The size of your solution determines the size of your success. Millionaires don't wait to be told what to do. They hunt for inefficiencies, frustrations, and unmet needs. Then they deliver, relentlessly. They become indispensable, not because they scream the loudest, but because they understand the deepest. They get into the hearts of people's problems and build bridges over the pain. Multiple income streams, Rule 6, aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. The average person has one way to earn. Millionaires have many, not because they're greedy, but because they understand volatility. They know one economy, one employer, one source is fragile. So they build ecosystems, investments that pay dividends, properties that cash flow, digital products that sell while they sleep. They understand that wealth is not earned once. It's stacked consistently through smart diversification. If one stream dries up, 5 others are still flowing. And they don't do it alone. Rule 7 tells us that greatness is contagious when you're around the right people. Millionaires build circles that challenge them to expand. Every conversation is a catalyst. Every connection is a mirror, reflecting what's possible. They don't hang around people who validate mediocrity. They choose voices that elevate standards. They spend time with winners, those who've failed and still climbed, those who've built and rebuilt. Because success is never solo. It grows in environments that demand excellence. Rule 8 is the spark, calculated risk. Millionaires are not reckless, but they are brave. They do the math, weigh the options, and leap. They invest in ideas others call risky, but only because others never did the work to understand them. They know that comfort zones produce the same results again and again. And comfort is the silent killer of ambition. So they step into uncertainty with preparation. They build parachutes while flying, because they trust their ability to figure it out more than they fear the fall. When life hits hard, and it will, millionaires rise because of Rule 9, turning adversity into advantage. Setbacks are a language they've learned to translate into breakthroughs. Rejection fuels their redirection. Loss sharpens their leadership. Criticism thickens their skin. They use pain as proof of growth. While others sink in problems, they climb through them. They know that adversity is a furnace, and if you stand long enough inside it, you don't come out weaker. You come out unshakable. And finally, Rule 10 is what keeps the journey alive. Never stop growing. Millionaires wake up with hunger. They wake up curious, not just about money, but about purpose, impact, and legacy. They read more, reflect more, refine more. They aren't trying to be better than others. They're trying to be better than who they were last year. Growth is the oxygen of their vision. They live not to arrive, but to evolve. Because the real prize isn't just the bank account. It's who they became to earn it. So what does it all mean for you? It means you're one decision away from transformation. You don't need to wait for the stars to align. You don't need to win the lottery. You don't need approval. You just need to decide. Decide that you're done living on autopilot. Decide that you're done playing small. Decide that from this moment on, you'll live by these rules. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. These 10 rules are not just steps. They're a new standard. A standard that builds not just millionaires, but masters of their own destiny. You see, wealth is not just about money. It's about choice. It's about waking up when you want, working on what you love, spending time with who matters, and giving to what you believe in. That's freedom. And freedom is the real finish line. The numbers in the account? That's just proof that the rules worked. But the real reward is the life you get to live, the one you designed, the one you earned, the one nobody can take from you. So build. Every day, every choice. Build with discipline. Build with fire. Build with faith. Because there's a version of you that already exists, the millionaire, the leader, the visionary, and that version is waiting for you to show up. Not someday. Now. One decision, one rule, one step at a time. Because the life you want isn't found in chance. It's found in commitment. And the rules are waiting. The only question is, will you follow them?